It's Kenny here with the Fantasy Golf Degenerates and the FantasyFanatics.com, bringing you another cash game cornerstones for the Valspar Championship. So before we get into this week, let's recap last week's WGC Mexico Championship. So, sorry guys. So basically, I jinxed myself. After 2 consecutive 4 of 4 weeks, I jokingly guaranteed that all 4 of my picks would make it to the weekend last week. Well, that didn't really happen, as Henrik Stenson withdrew early in the first round with a stomach bug. That basically screwed my whole week and my cash lineup. Hopefully you listened when I said that you should think about using less bankroll in no-cut events. But of course, I didn't really listen to myself, and I played my usual bankroll because, I'm a freaking degenerate. My other 3 picks did okay, as Sergio Garcia shot 7 under and finished in 12th place. Martin Keimer had a good Sunday to move up to 23rd place with a score of -4. And Bill Haas's poor Saturday dropped him to 32nd with a final score of -1. Now, on to this week. The tour moves right outside of Tampa Bay for the Valspar Championship from the Copperhead course at Innisbrook Resort. This is a tough course. It's routinely one of the 5 to 10 most difficult courses on tour. Off the tee, golfers will see average-sized fairways that get more narrow the farther you get from the tee box. Thickest rough, trees, fairway bunkers, and some water line the landing areas off the tee. On approach shots, golfers will see average-sized greens when it comes to square footage, but in actuality, a lot of these greens are long and skinny, and the par 5s actually have some of the smaller greens on the course. The greens use Bermuda grass, have some slope and undulation, and should play faster than last year, since it was the first year after redoing all these greens. Putting was extremely difficult last year because of how slow the greens were, but this year they should be up to around 12 on the Stimpmeter, which is right about average for the tour. This course is best known for the Snake Pit, which is the final 3 holes on the course, and they're difficult to say the least. The tournament will come down to who can make pars on all 3 of these holes on Sunday afternoon, and if you get a birdie on there, it's a big bonus. Now, when it comes to the spreadsheet this week, some stats I'll be looking for are strokes gained tee to green. It's a difficult course, so I always like keying on this stat when the course conditions are tough. I'm also looking at strokes gained approach. This is a less than driver course. It routinely ranks in the bottom 6 of driving distance on tour. Any less than driver course, I'm always going to look at second shot stats. So my next stat is going to be proximity from 175 to 200 yards and from 200 yards and above, since nearly almost 60% of all approach shots come from this distance. I'll take a peek at par 5 scoring as well. Charles Schwartzel, he was 9 under on the par 5s last year on his way to his victory, and he finished the tournament at 7 under. So yeah, par 5 scoring important. I'll also look at par 3 scoring and bogey avoidance a little bit as well. I'll be weighting these key stats on the spreadsheet at 50%. I'll put 30% on current form and 20% on course history. Now, let's actually get to the picks. Now, first up, it's a familiar name. If you've been watching me on the Cash Game Cornerstones for the last year or so, it's Matt Kuchar at $10,200. He's Mr. Consistent. He leads the tour in top 25 since 2010, so he really has been the model of consistency. He had a rough fall, but he's bounced back nicely with 3 top 25s and 4 events played in 2017. He hasn't missed a cut in his last 6 appearances at Copperhead and has 4 top 15s in that span. Now, his stats aren't the best this year because of his poor start in the fall, but if you look at his stats from last year, he's in the top 10 in my model. He's really good with his long irons, makes a good amount of birdies, and usually avoids the big number. He's also very relaxed on the course and doesn't let things bother him too much. He's sort of like a mini Dustin Johnson when it comes to that. And it could be helpful on the course that is this difficult. It's going to cause some people to get angry at some point in time. Next up, it's going to be Charles Howell III at $9,400. He comes in as my number 3 ranked golfer overall on my spreadsheet on the FantasyFanatics.com this week. When it comes to the stats, the thing that sticks out to me about CH3 is he's inside the top 25 in both par 3 and par 5 scoring. This is a bit of a rarity, especially with this field. As I said earlier, we saw how important par 5 scoring can be with Charles' win last year. And there are 5 par 3s on the course. So if you can find a golfer who normally succeeds on both, you're more than likely going to find someone who will at least make the cut, if not contend. He also has solid tee to green stats and is 4th in bogey avoidance for the year. He's made 7 of his last 8 cuts at Copperhead with 5 top 15s, and he has solid current form as well with 9 straight made cuts and 7 top 15s in those 9 made cuts. All right, next up, it's going to be Jason Dufner at $7,900. Now, Duff Daddy has stated in interviews how much he enjoys this course. He's also said that he likes playing tough courses and he feels more comfortable at a tournament where the winning score is, around the single-digit range. If you look at his form here at Copperhead, you can see he's not lying. He's made his last 8 cuts here, and he's never finished worse than 28th in that span. He's been on a decent run lately with 4 top 25s in his last 5 events played. He's been doing exceptionally well with his irons the last couple of tournaments, gaining 5.3 strokes on the field on approach shots. He has a great all-around game. He's been scrambling well this year, and, I'm a big fan of his this week. I'll be using him in all formats. So, I've definitely been uber chalk with my picks, with my first 3 picks. But, if you've been following my work for long enough, you know that, that's just how I roll. But I'll go off the chalk a bit for my last pick. Before I get into that, if you're looking for chalky, cash game plays in this price range, Wesley Bryant, Jim Furyk, and Luke Donald all fit that mold. But I'm going to go with Martin Laird at $7,400 with my final pick. He is my number 6 ranked golfer overall this week. His stats for the course are really good. He's 21st in strokes gained tee to green, 29th in strokes gained approach, 77th in proximity from 175 to 200 yards, 27th in proximity from 200 to 225 yards, 16th in bogey avoidance, 31st in birdie or better percentage, 39th in par 5 scoring, and 6th in par 3 scoring. He's made 14 of his last 15 cuts. He had a couple of MDFs sprinkled in there, but he has finished inside the top 27 in 9 of those tournaments, including 3 top 10s in his last 5 events. He's made 4 of 6 cuts overall at Copperhead with a 5th place finish a few years ago. I like Party Marty a bunch this week, and I'll be using him in GPPs as well. So that's it for my cash game cornerstones this week. If you're looking for a sub 7K guy to play in cash, take a peek at Adam Hadwin. He's been playing great golf this year, and he seems very underpriced. So let's recap. My 4 picks this week are going to be Matt Kuchar at $10,200, Charles Howell III at $9,400, Jason Dufner at $7,900, and Party Marty Laird at $7,400. Now, make sure you check out all the different tools and the strategy content on thefantasyfanatics.com. Also, check out Brad and I on the Fantasy Golf Degenerates pod each week. And lastly, check out my guest appearance on the Pat Mayo Hour as we talk about our favorite play and fades for the Valspar Championship. Good luck, win some money, and I'll see you guys next week.